Hello, everyone. Welcome to Build Series. I'm Lee Blickley, and today I'm joined by everyone's favorite California girl, Kristin Cavallari, is here to talk about her new cookbook, True Roots, which I have a copy of, and living a nice, clean life through a clean diet. So thank you so much. Welcome to Build.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Is everyone excited to see Kristin? Yes.
Thanks,
Your first time here.
I know.
So excited to have you.
Thanks.
What's it been like to be in New York? We were just talking about how it's a little rainy.
I know. I wish it wasn't raining, but it's always fun to be in New York. I just love the energy here.
Yeah, because, being married to a football player, I have to imagine, you lived in Chicago for a while, you live in Nashville now, you were down in Miami for a little bit. What's that like, kind of living this nomadic life, or now you're kind of settled?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice, to be honest, to be in one place now. We used to split our time between Chicago and Nashville, and then, like you said, Jay was in Miami for 5 months, so we would go back and forth. So yeah, I mean, it's nice not to have a suitcase just permanently out. I mean, I still travel a lot, but yeah, we're excited to have the kids in school and to be in one place for hopefully the next, 16 plus years at least.
Yeah, what is it about Nashville that you find is a great place to settle down and raise your family?
It's such a great place to raise a family. I mean, I feel like they can just live a very normal life in Nashville, and you have everything that a big city has to offer, yet it just feels like such a small town. We're so happy there.
Have you been kind of inspired by Nashville and like the food down south and all that? Did that kind of inspire you for your cookbook?
Well, the Nashville food is a little bit heavier. That's
Fried
Southern
chicken.
food, yeah, than what's in my cookbook. But Nashville is getting a great food scene. We have some amazing restaurants now. There's healthier spots popping up. We have our juice bars and all of that stuff. So, so you can kind of do either one when you come to Nashville.
Yeah. So you had a book already published, but it was more like a memoir.
It was a lifestyle book.
Lifestyle book, and you talked a little bit about your career in that. But this is a cookbook.
Yeah.
And so have you always been a cook? Did you always know that it was a passion of yours, or have you kind of found it, being a mom and having to cook, or being a wife and cooking for your husband?
Yeah, I started cooking when I had my first son, Camden. So he's almost 6, so almost 6 years ago. I just had this vision of myself being the mom that cooked dinner for her family every night. My mom did that for us, and I just always wanted to be that mom. So I started cooking, and I really changed my lifestyle when I had my first son as well. My teens and my early 20s, I would kind of try the latest fad diet that was out there, and I never really felt great. I never got past a certain weight, and then when I got pregnant, I decided to give into cravings, but just to kind of live an overall healthy lifestyle, and I've since maintained that, and I feel the best I ever have. I haven't had to diet. Jay, my husband, is a type 1 diabetic, and since adopting this lifestyle, he's gotten off of his blood pressure medication. His A1C, which is his diabetic number, if you guys aren't familiar, is the best it's ever been. He looks and feels the best he ever has. So I've seen firsthand what it can really do for you. So yeah, my kids eat the same way, and we've just maintained it.
Yeah, how did you do you go about discovering clean eating? Because like you said, there's so many diets out there, and they don't always work, or they work, and then you kind of go off them and you fall off the wagon.
Right.
How did you discover, a clean diet?
Well, my dad is a big health nut, and so I've always kind of been around it, and I would implement certain parts of it into my life, but I found that I would be really strict during the weekend, or during the week, let's say, and then on the weekends I would go out, and then the next day I'd be like a little hungover, and I would just eat everything and anything, and so it was almost like yo-yo dieting or binge eating or whatever you want to call it, which is so unhealthy for you, and I didn't feel good. So when I got pregnant, I just decided to kind of do everything in moderation, and I didn't have a hard time losing the baby weight. I didn't blow up. And then I just maintained it while I was nursing and, had this baby and everything. And it was the freest I had ever felt around food when I didn't put limitations on myself. I looked at it more as a bank account. Like, okay, if I want to, go out and eat pasta and have a glass of wine and then eat dessert, maybe the next day I'm just going to eat a salad and sort of like keep everything in line. So I have just found that I'm the happiest and freest I've ever been around food.
Yeah, what kind of recipes did you put in here? I mean, I read through it, and there's some delicious stuff. Even if I just flip to any page, it's spicy crab and avocado tostadas.
Well, so a couple things. One is everything in this cookbook truly isn't hard to make. If I can make it, you can make it. I'm by no means a chef. I'm just a home cook. I'm a mom that likes to cook. So you can make everything in there. And you know, I'm not vegan. I think there's this misconception. People always ask me if I'm vegan. I'm definitely not vegan. I love eating meat. You can, in fact, eat healthy, and it doesn't have to equal boring or bland or like you're missing out on something. I eat cheese. I eat pasta. I eat all of that stuff. It's just the types that I'm eating are different than they were 10 years ago.
Yeah. And is it gluten-free and dairy-free and all that?
It is gluten-free. I wouldn't classify myself as gluten-free, but when I'm cooking at home, 90% of the time it is gluten-free. It's mostly dairy-free. I use a little bit of goat cheese, a little bit of sheep milk cheese or yogurt in some of the recipes, but there's 2 or 3 recipes with a little butter, and that's it for cow's milk. Yeah.
And what was it like making a cookbook? Were you experimenting in the kitchen and figuring out which meals you wanted to feature and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, my poor family had to suffer through a lot of the same meals over and over, but it was fun. I really had a good time doing it. It's a lot of work. Obviously I knew it would be a lot of work. I didn't realize how much work would go into it, but I had fun. And yeah, it was just, you know, some recipes were great and came together after 1 or 2 tries, and other ones needed 5 or 6 tries.
Do you have any favorite recipes in here?
It's hard to pick a few. I mean, we make butternut squash pancakes are made in my house at least once a week. My kids love them, and they're healthy. I love them. Zucchini almond butter blondies really have nothing in them. It's like almond butter, shredded zucchini, some coconut sugar, and they're the most moist, delicious blondies on the planet, and they have zucchini in them. So, you know, you wouldn't even know. Yeah.
Did you ever see yourself, you know, at this stage in your life, did you know you wanted kids and that you wanted to be, you know, a cook and a mom and all that? Did you see that for yourself at this point?
I always wanted kids and I wanted to be married. I didn't think, however, that I would be the first one out of all of my friends to have kids. I was 25 when I had Camden, so I was young. But it honestly feels like this is who I'm supposed to be, and I totally feel like I'm on the right path, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, and what is motherhood like for you? It seems like, you know, on your Instagram, you're always cooking, and it seems like your kids are always a part of that experience, and you guys are having fun. Is it awesome to have, you know, 3 kids? Close in age and living in Nashville, and
it is awesome, and it's also a lot of work. Yeah, I mean they're 5, 3, and 2, so my 5-year-old is great. You know, he's sort of out of all of that stuff, but my 3-year-old and my 2-year-old are both in the terrible 2. You know, it's like I almost think 3s are worse than 2. So we're in a heavy whining phase right now, which is a little, you know, but yeah, they're great. I mean, I truly think that I have the best kids on the planet, obviously, like every mom does. But they love cooking with me. They love getting in the kitchen, and they're at really fun ages. Yeah, I'm really happy, and we have 2 boys and a girl, which is what I wanted. So I just feel very, very lucky. Yeah.
And how do you balance, you know, being a mom to 3 kids and having a husband who's traveling for his football season?
No, he's home now.
Now he's home.
He's home
yeah.
all day, every day now.
And now you're like, maybe you should.
Yeah, I'm like, you should get a hobby.
How do you balance it all? Because you're doing, you know, you're writing a cookbook. You have Uncommon James, your jewelry line. You had your shoe line with Chinese laundry, and you're on E.
Yeah. Well, luckily the cookbook I actually finished before I launched Uncommon James, which is my jewelry line, and now it's expanded into home goods. But honestly, as corny as it is, I couldn't do it without Jay. He is home now all day, every day, so he'll take the boys to school and pick them up, and it really frees up my day. But since I had kids, I just decided that I'm only going to do the things that I absolutely love and that will really fulfill me as a person. And so the cookbook was truly a passion project of mine. Uncommon James is my company. So I started this company. I'm 100% the owner. I have complete creative freedom to do whatever I want. And it is the most rewarding and challenging job on the planet, and I love every second of it. So these are all things that I can do from anywhere. You know, I can write the cookbooks or the books or whatever they may be from anywhere. The jewelry I can essentially work on from anywhere and make my own hours. So I feel very lucky that I've been able to create this career to really work well with my life, because first and foremost, I'm a mom.
And where did the name Uncommon James come from? Like, how did you think of that?
James is my daughter's middle name. I love the name James for a girl, even though it's more common for a boy, so it's uncommon.
Oh,
I can't say it with a straight face ever.
Yeah, because I'm always wondering how people think of like their businesses. And did you know that you wanted it to be jewelry? Have you always had like a passion for design in that way?
So like you said, I've had a shoe line with Chinese laundry for 5 years. And that was my passion, was shoes. I've learned a lot and I've loved every second, but at the end of the day, I work with a well-established company. So yes, while I have final say, I don't necessarily have as much control as I would like. So I decided to start my own company in jewelry because I felt like that was the next natural step. I feel like accessories can make or break your outfit. And so I just just decided to do it. And I've really learned as I've gone. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but here I am, and I finally feel like I'm in a really good place with it. I know my customer. I really know, I just know all the ins and outs now of running a company, and it's fun. It really is.
Yeah, what's the hardest part about being a business owner?
God, honestly, for me, it's having to have tough conversations with my staff. If my staff isn't really living up to my expectations, it's because I really care about each and every one of them individually. It's hard to have to drop the hammer. I mean, that's the hard part about being the boss is you have to have, you have to have some of these tough conversations. And in the same breath, because it's mine, everything falls on me. So if something goes wrong, it falls on me. I can't hide behind a big company, let's say, like Chinese laundry. I make every decision. And so if customers, let's say, aren't happy, then it comes back to me.
Yeah. So how do you decide to sit down, and do you draw out sketches of the jewelry that you have in mind, and then do you work with a designer who kind of can make it? And
So, I will draw out some stuff, but for me, it's more about measuring because I can't draw. So I have to actually just measure it out. And then I pull inspiration from other jewelry and I'll just kind of tweak it. But when I deal directly with my manufacturer. So I'm the designer. So I will send measurements to them. And then from there, they will make a sample. And more times than not, they get it right. And I don't have to go through rounds and rounds of samples. But there are those few kind of like testing for the cookbook that, just need a little bit more love.
yeah, what's it like when you get your jewelry sent to you to look at and you're like, wow, this is
it's
really
better than
cool.
Christmas. Honestly, it's the best day. I'm like, yes, jewelry came. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool to see it come to life.
And what about your lifestyle line? Do you have certain things that, are in your house or things that you designed based on your aesthetic and your style?
Yeah, so I just launched Uncommon James Home. So it's measuring spoons and cups, salad tongs, things like that. And I felt like it was good timing with the cookbook obviously coming out since I am in the kitchen all the time to tie that back in.
Are you a big HGTV fan? Are you big on the Home Improvement
I
Network?
don't watch a lot of TV.
What?
I know.
That's where you started, girl.
I know, it's sad. I wish I did. No, and then at night when I can actually sit down to watch TV. I mean, Jay and I have our shows, but we haven't watched one in a minute. Because I'm usually answering emails now at night. I've been extra busy lately. I'm hoping things die down here in a few weeks. But yeah, I would love to get back into some of our shows. We love Ray Donovan, and I actually like The Walking Dead, which always seems to surprise people, but I love that show. And then The Housewives of Beverly Hills will always have my heart.
Of course. Well, there has kind of been, too, this resurrection of old reality TV shows American Idol's back, and we have Queer Eye's back.
Yeah.
And they're really taking off. And I'm sure people always ask you, would you go back to, the hills? Or you can't really go back to Laguna Beach. But when you think about that time in your life, what is the first thing that comes to mind being a part of a reality show when reality was huge?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool that Laguna Beach sort of was one of the first reality shows and paved the way. I mean, I'm proud to be part of that. I think it's really cool. I don't think reality TV is what it used to be back in the day. I definitely think it's changed. So to be a pioneer is great. But no, it's really cool. I mean, I had really different but both equally as amazing experiences on both shows. I would love to go back and do a reunion of some sort. I know we were talking about it, but everyone's schedules and everyone's different contracts kind of get in the way. So we'll see. Maybe one day.
Would everyone here want a reunion? Yeah. Which show, though? The Hills or Laguna Beach? The Hills. No Laguna love in here.
What the heck, you guys?
Have you seen Stephen Coletti in a little bit?
God, I haven't seen him, but I still talk to him. But I haven't actually seen him in years.
Yeah, because people forget, these were your friends that you went to high school with.
That was my high school boyfriend, yeah.
How did you guys stumble, did MTV kind of just come to your school and say, we're looking for people to be a part of the show?
Yeah, so what happened was because of the OC, the show, the scripted show, the OC, they wanted to do the real OC. And at first, our high school was on board. They were going to pay the high school. And they were going to film in our classrooms and do the whole thing. And at first, everyone was cool with it. So they came and they set up a booth at lunchtime and at break. And you'd go up and you'd grab your packet, and it's this 20-page packet, and it's what do you hate about your best friend? It's those kinds of questions. And then you turn it back in, and they take your Polaroid picture. And then by the time they had found all of us, the school pulled out because parents were freaking out about cameras being in the classrooms, of course. But they had found all of us, so they didn't care. So they said, great, we're still going to do the show. And I think we filmed for like 8 or 9 months on the weekends. And it was crazy. It was really wild because we didn't know really what it was. I always thought it was going to be True Life. Do you remember that show on MTV? I thought it was going to be like that, like True Life. I go to school in the real Orange County, not even realizing what it would turn into. So it was crazy.
For you, what's the best memory from that time on Laguna?
I mean, oh God. Well, I mean, I think it's really cool now that I'm older just to have like my high school graduations and prom and those bigger moments edited in such a cool way that it's like a movie. It's really neat that I have those, which is different than most people. So that's cool. But just as a whole, I mean, it was a really wild experience to be a junior in high school, 17 years old, and all of a sudden I'm flying to New York to go on TRL and do all of that stuff. It was just very different, but it was really fun, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
I know you got to be in that like awesome TRL period where
I got a little bit of like the old school MTV cool days.
I mean, I used to watch you on television. It was like Laguna was like my life and TRL. But for you, like, how difficult was that? I imagine it had to be difficult to be a teenager and on this huge platform that so many people were watching, and then trying to live your life while having some edited things happen or some drama placed here and there that wasn't real.
I mean, it was weird because I would be missing school to go to TRL. So, I mean, that's not normal. But I remember it wasn't really weird until, because we filmed my junior year, and then everyone graduated except for Talon and I. And so we were seniors at high school, and I remember the freshmen coming in and looking at us differently. And that's when I was like, okay, this is weird, But it also helped me pass marine biology, so... My teacher had me sign papers. I was like, great, yeah, no problem. So yeah, it worked out.
And then did you know that you would want to do something like The Hills? Did you have to be kind of like talked into it, or were you down for it?
No, I was very adamant about not doing reality TV again. I was serious about acting, and I did act. I was in 5 movies. I did a lot of guest spots, nothing amazing, but I was always working. And they kept asking me to do The Hills, and I just kept saying, no, it's Lauren's show. I'm not going to do it. I know exactly what you want me to do. You want me to go in there and stir the pot and blah, 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 which is fun. But and then with Lauren leaving... to be quite honest, they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I decided, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then I have to fully embrace it. And so I did, and I was excited. It was a very tough decision for me at the time. But I knew going back to The Hills, then I had to just own it. And I was excited. So I looked at it strictly as a job. And I had my off-camera life, and I had my camera life, which kept me sane, because that's it's hard once the lines get blurred. So I had fun. I had a great time playing up the bitch.
Yeah. She was good at it. But there was always like Team LC and Team Kristin. Where is that relationship at today? Because you guys are both kind of doing, lifestyle stuff. You have huge names and brands behind you, and you're business owners. Is that relationship still not really?
No, I haven't seen her or spoken to her in years, but not because there's any bad blood. If I saw her, we would give each other a big hug and catch up and carry on with our lives. We've never been great friends. We've never been as big of enemies as they wanted it to seem. So it's just one of those relationships that loves to get played out, but it's not quite as it seems.
Yeah, guys, listen in. But when you were on that show, were you like always wanting to be kind of in this realm of a jewelry maker or a writer or lifestyle, or you're on E as a host? Is that kind of what you wanted to do, or what would have been your path maybe if you weren't on reality TV that gave you kind of some open doors?
I wanted to go to school and study broadcast journalism and do hosting. So yeah, so it did kind of come full circle, since I do have a contract with E for all of the big award shows, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to be in the entertainment business, and I thought I'd kind of work my way in through the hosting route. So yeah, it all just kind of came together.
Yeah, what's the experience like working with E? Such a humongous network.
Yeah.
You're on like the biggest red carpets every year.
Yeah.
Is it nerve-wracking? Do you get nervous around any celebrities or anything like that?
Well, so I have a pre-show which starts right before Juliana and Ryan. And so I'm primarily talking about fashion. And we will typically interview maybe 1 or 2 people, but I'm not on the carpet. Well, sometimes I am on the carpet, but I'm not doing all of the heavy lifting with the interviews. That's definitely Ryan and Juliana, which is great. I don't want to be doing that. I like what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, I definitely get nervous because it's a big deal. And so, yeah, I always get little butterflies before, but I have a lot of fun. I work with Brad Goreski, who,
You guys are great together.
Thanks. I love him to death. So we have a good, brother-sister relationship going on, and we've been working together for a long time now. So I feel like we're just in a great place where we're having fun, and we've kind of worked out all of the kinks, and now we just go out there and have a good time.
Yeah, is it fun to talk about things that, you're passionate about style?
Yeah.
So it must be fun to like sit next to a good pal and just talk about celebrities and their pretty gowns and then also be able to talk about your own style.
Yeah, no, it is. It's the dream job, You're talking about fashion and you're hosting on E. It's great. Yeah.
So you have a book, you have a jewelry line, shoes, like I said, you're hosting E. What is something that you would still like to achieve in your life?
Gosh, I would love to do a baby and kid line. So that's probably next for Uncommon James, and I'll call it Little James.
Oh, cute.
And something on my bucket list that's been on my bucket list for years was to produce a show. And so I'm currently fulfilling that, but I can't really talk about.
Tell us.
Yeah, but we'll announce that
producing.
tomorrow morning. So,
Oh, cool! We don't have to wait too long.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
We could have gotten the scoop here, but it's
sorry, guys.
Day late, day early. I do want to open it up to some audience questions. So here we go.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? So I was reading that you've worked with some charity groups and nonprofit groups in the past. I was wondering how you chose the groups that you worked with, and if you still get time to do any of that now.
I was working with a group called One Kid, One World for a while. I went to El Salvador and Kenya, which was incredible, and we helped rebuild schools and just bring all the supplies that they would need. And that was amazing. Jay came with me to Kenya in the first year that we were dating, and I loved every second. But when I met Jay, he's a type 1 diabetic, and he had his own foundation for kids with type 1 diabetes. So that became obviously near and dear to my heart. So I really started putting all of my time and attention on that. And to be completely honest, the last couple years, or the last year, 2 years, I haven't had time. Jay hasn't either, with him being in Miami, and it's just been a lot. So we're now hoping to get back into it now that he's home. Yeah.
Who's next? Here.
Hi.
Hi.
Kristin. I've been a big fan of yours since Laguna Beach.
Thanks.
And my question is, did you use any of the recipes in your book for Jay's past season in Miami?
Gosh, that's a good question. Yes, I'm trying to think about, because we were living in a hotel. It was like, what can I make that's easy to make in a hotel?
I was like, what meal did he eat when he beat Tom Brady on Monday Night Football?
That, yeah, unfortunately, that was an away game for us, so I wasn't there for that one. Can't take that credit. I remember I made a lot of duck. My Whole Foods by my house doesn't have organic duck, and in Miami they had it everywhere, so I was taking advantage of that. Just so random. And what else did we make all the time? We did a lot of pizza. There's Simple Mills is a really great, clean brand. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but they make an awesome pizza crust that's with like almond flour, and it's gluten-free, and it's really good. So we did a lot of that kind of stuff. It was honestly in Miami, it was whatever the kids would eat that was easy that we could just throw together. But we did spend Thanksgiving there. I did the whole thing for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I went all out, so we did some room service,
Is it hard though, like cooking for or eating with an athlete who is kind of on like some sort of workout schedule and strict diet routine?
No, I mean, Jay just eats whatever we're eating. The only difference is we eat dinner at 5 o'clock because of my kids. We just eat with our kids. And then he'll usually have a second dinner before we go to bed.
I was like, 5 o'clock's early.
It is early, so,
hungry.
8:30 rolls around and he's hungry again. Yeah.
All right, we have time for one more. Who's next?
Hi. So
Hi.
I'm a huge fan. Follow you on Instagram. Bought your
Thanks.
book.
Thank you.
So I have an almost 3-year-old too, and I totally agree. 3 is like
That's awful.
It's really hard. Yeah.
If we could skip 3, that would be great.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to find out, like, I see you cooking with the kids and stuff. Like, any suggestions on how to involve them, like with I'm gonna be using your book and stuff. So any like tips or whatever.
I mean, like my kids love just pouring anything into a bowl. So I'll just measure something out with a measuring spoon or a measuring cup, and I'll help like guide them over the bowl and make sure they get it all in. Or you can give them fake tasks. Or like if we're doing banana bread or something, I'll have them just mash all the bananas. Any of that kind of stuff that's just easy.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know. I'm expecting my first child, and I'm gonna be eating all.
You
of
are?
No, I am.
You can't even tell.
It's just a little tiny bump,
Aw,
and I'm like, maybe I should
congrats.
start clean eating if she did. I want to look like her after I have a baby.
Aw, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
We've loved having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
the book is out now, right?
Yeah, today, first
yeah,
day.
pick it up, guys, and eat some good food. Thanks for being here, Kristin.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.